Hello, Hilltoppers, and welcome to the Title IX overview as part of your College 101 first year experience class. My name is Kate Billings. I'm the Title IX coordinator here on campus. I'm sure you've seen me around as part of my duties as the director of student activities and clubs and organizations and being out and about in that way. But I'm here today to talk to you about Title IX, the purpose of it, the scope of it, how it can affect you as a student, and the resources and support you can receive here on campus if you ever find yourself in a situation. We also want to make sure that we take time today to just talk about some healthy pointers to make sure that you are navigating this world up on the hilltop as an adult now, healthy and safely underneath our Title IX policies. So let's jump right in. Here at West Liberty, we have a commitment to our community. We want to maintain a learning and working environment free from any type of discrimination or coercion or intimidation. We make sure we do this through a variety of different ways. We have information up on our web page, policies, handbooks. In our syllabuses, we include certain verbiage on harassment, and just in our daily conduct towards each other here on campus. If you were an undergraduate here or if you are new to the West Lib community, I think you will really see how much of a family we are up here on the hilltop, and that's done through mutual respect here on campus. So what is Title IX? No person in the United States on the basis of their sex should be excluded from participation in or denied the benefits of any type of educational program or activity receiving federal funding. So when we look at that on a college campus, you can't be denied your right to an education, but you also can't be denied the right of going to that club or organizational meeting or participating in a sport. If you've experienced some type of discrimination or sexual harassment by a fellow student who's in your class, maybe you no longer feel comfortable going to that class. And Title IX is here to help provide resources, support, and address those types of issues that may come up. So really, I know a lot of people will say, oh, I know of Title IX because of athletics and sports, and that means we have X amount of scholarships to equal it out. But really, it really goes far beyond the athletics, and it applies to the classroom, your clubs and organizations, your residential living on campus. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable receiving your education, whether you be here for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever it may be. The university, we have an obligation to investigate it, stop and remedy any type of harassment, and in the future prevent it. So education is a very huge part of that. And that's what part of today is, making sure that you understand our process, how to help prevent any type of reoccurrence and remedy the situation here on campus of any type of discrimination based on sex. So in order to make sure that we're following the Title IX policy, which is not just at a university level, but a federal level, every university has a Title IX coordinator. It's a specific employee or faculty member who has been assigned to take the lead in our reporting, policy, and procedure making, and investigative process. So essentially, any type of Title IX report will flow through my office and myself for assessment, to make sure, is it Title IX? What kind of remedies can we put in? Are there accommodations that may be beneficial to the students involved? And also for us to make sure that we are unbiased through the process. So the university has allocated me to help make sure that all of that happens through the university and make sure that education happens. And that's a really big part of the Title IX coordinator's job, is to make sure that all of the students, faculty, and staff are educated on the topic. So if you ever do need to speak with me directly about an incident, or maybe just to learn more about supportive services that are available, you can always reach out to me via email, or you can visit me above Bare Necessities in the Student Union. It's technically S30, but if you just go up the stairs on the side of Main Hall, the Union side of Main Hall, you go all the way up to the 3rd floor, I am there, and you can come and speak with me. In terms of the scope of Title IX, it protects all students, undergraduate and graduate, full-time, part-time, as long as they are enrolled as a student here on campus or online, virtually. It is also applicable. It also protects our faculty and staff. So claims can be made student on student, or a student can make a claim against a possible harassment from a faculty member, or a staff member can make a claim against a student for harassment. So it goes both ways. All those entities are able to get protection. And it doesn't always have to be a student, faculty, or staff member here. It may be an entity off campus that is engaging in sexual harassment against one of our students. And that student here on campus can come and talk to us about supportive services and different ways that we can work with them to get them safe on campus. In terms of the jurisdiction, if any type of harassment was to happen on our campus property or at university events, we oversee those areas, and that's where we're able to look. If something was to happen off campus, it doesn't necessarily fall under our jurisdiction, but students can still report that conduct to us, and we can provide supportive services under Title IX, and can provide further information regarding the complaint and if it can be filed or not. And if not, it still may be addressed through our student code of conduct and our judicial procedures here on campus. So what is covered under Title IX? In this slide, we'll go through different examples of what could potentially be a policy violation under Title IX. So the first is going to be any type of sexual misconduct, intimate partner violence, domestic violence, anything that's within that spectrum, verbal, physical would all count. Any type of stalking, whether that be in person or online, stuff like Snapchat, text messages, would all fall underneath that category too. Of course, any type of sexual assault offenses, so non-consensual sexual intercourse, non-consensual sexual contact, essentially exceeding those boundaries of consent. Just because someone said yes to sex, last weekend doesn't mean they're necessarily giving you permission today to have sex with them. So making sure that you're proactively getting consent in every type of sexual act that you are doing with your partner. Any type of sexual exploitation is also covered under Title IX, so voyeurism, invasion of sexual privacy. We'll see this a lot with, once again, Snapchat, videos that people will take and maybe share with their friends without permission of their partner. So just to be very aware of that. And then, of course, any type of fondling, retaliatory harassment, general sexual harassment based on gender identity, gender expression that may come across in the classroom or maybe in a living environment in a residence hall. Any of the unwelcome conduct needs to hit a certain level. Is it pervasive? Is it severe? Is it objectively offensive? And our office is able to determine that when we talk to the student, faculty, or staff member about the conduct that they've been experiencing here on campus. These are not all encompassing. These are just some examples of what we see here on campus. But if you look at our policy 32, it goes through the definition of every single type of conduct that is covered under Title IX. So let's go over the general process for a student. So if they or a friend were to experience some type of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, discrimination based on sex, they would come to our office and make a report. They would talk to me one-on-one, and I can walk them through all of their options. We can put in interim measures and accommodations, whether they file a formal complaint or not, but essentially our office will walk them through each step and what is available to them, whether they choose to go through our process or not. If a student chooses to go through our process, we will put in possible interim measures and accommodations and then include an investigative process and Okay, so as a student here on campus, there are different ways to make reports. The first one is a confidential report. Those reports go to 3 different entities here on campus, and the university does not need to know about it. My office and any Title IX person in position would not reach out to a student, faculty, or staff member if they were to talk to any of these three entities. The first one is Campus Health Services, Nurse Christy Bennington, who's over in Shaw Hall. The second is any of our campus counselors. So the main one would be Lisa Witzberger in the University Union second floor, but any of the counselors that are in the psychology department, the behavioral counseling center over in Campbell, those would all qualify also. And then finally, campus ministry and our interfaith chapel. When we have a new pastor here on campus, we will add them to the list as one of the potential confidential reporters that you could go to or a friend could go to talk about what they've experienced and potential options without the stress of the university reaching out. The other types of reports are non-confidential reports. So any type of information that an administrative staff or faculty member may get, they're required to take action and report it. And then if any general student was to come to our office and say, I heard XYZ, if they were to come forward and do that, that's not a non-confidential report, and our office is required to reach out to those students and do our due diligence to provide them resources and support and knowledge of the university process. We do understand that students may want to look at off-campus entities to get support and talk to someone through that avenue versus utilizing university services. We do have a lot of great partnerships with those in the local community. The first one being the Wheeling YWCA and the second one being the Ohio Valley Sexual Assault Help Center. The Sexual Assault Help Center actually has advocates who are willing to come up to campus to meet with our students if they are ever in a situation, to act as an advisor, an advocate throughout a process, whether they're going through something legally or possibly the Title IX process here on campus. And we're also actually looking at having them have some open office hours on campus so that students can just drop in and speak with them when they would like, based on availability. There's also a couple of other entities in the tri-state area. So you have Tri-County Help Center over in St. Clairsville, Ohio, and then the Care Center in Washington, PA. No matter where you're from, if you're looking to get connected with a resource off campus, please feel free to come to our office and we will help guide you in the right direction. Find those resources in your hometown, home state, whatever it may be, so that you're getting the support that you are looking for and need. So as stated, our office can provide some more supportive measures for students who have experienced some type of sexual assault, sexual discrimination, sexual harassment, whether they just decide to file a formal complaint or not. So this is also great for you to know as a leader here on campus. So a student may experience sexual harassment or sexual misconduct, and we can do any of these things listed here and potentially others without even going through our formal complaint process. So it may mean changing their housing placement, setting them up with counseling services here on campus or off campus, maybe changing a class schedule, providing escort services, no contact directives, limits in certain curricular activities. So all of them will depend on the circumstances of a situation, but we really want to stress to students that no matter what, whether you choose to utilize the university process in Title IX and file a formal complaint, that we can still provide those supportive measures to you as a student. On the next slide, we're going to jump into consent and communication, as I really feel like that's the next biggest part outside of educating yourself on what Title IX is how you're communicating with your sexual partner, whether that be someone that you've been with and exclusively dated for the last like 2 or 3 years. Maybe it's someone you're casually seeing for the past 3 or 4 months, or maybe it's a one night thing where you see that person and that's the end of your relationship with them. But consent and communication is a very big part of making sure all parties are on the same page. So when we click over to the next slide, the video should start automatically. If not, we've included the YouTube link here so you can take a chance to review it.
Hi, I'm here and I'm trying to figure out what consent really is and how to get it right. Hey, can I borrow your phone?
No.
Foiled. Hey, can I have your phone?
No.
Damn. Hey, give me your phone. Victory. Was that consent?
No, that was coercion. Consent must be voluntary.
Jonathan?
Yeah?
Hey, can I borrow your phone really fast?
No.
Okay, great. How about now?
No, clearly he was incapacitated and could not give consent.
Hey, can I borrow your phone? He didn't say no. Did I get it right?
No, two negatives do not make a positive. The absence of no does not mean yes.
Hey, can I borrow your guys' phones?
Yeah, sure.
Why? What do you want it for?
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's fine. Just give it to her.
Tell me I'm good.
Group phones make things complicated. Looks like the middle person was intimidated. Sorry, no go.
Oh. Look, can I just have your phone?
Yeah. Just no text or international calls.
Are you comfortable with me changing your ringtone?
As long as it's not disco.
Can I play with your game center?
No, my games are sacred to me. But you can update my software.
Shazam?
Shazam.
Oh. Tell me, please.
A conscious, voluntary decision without coercion or intimidation with clearly spoken boundaries. Congratulations.
Yes.
So getting consent is important. And it's not just important, it's mandatory, essentially. Any type of sexual contact without consent is considered assault or rape, depending on the level. And here's the thing, when we think about sexual coercion, we normally think of something that's violent or physically restraining in some way, shape, or form. In the reality, sexual coercion is often much more subtle. It happens between people we know most of the time and people who we even trust in a certain situation. The perpetrator may use pressure, manipulation. Commonly, people think of drugs and alcohol and force and initiate sexual contact without permission. And what sort of sucks is in the real world, in the movies, sometimes through media, like sexual coercion is often seen as acceptable. Um, maybe someone keeps pushing someone over and over and over after they've said no, like, come on, please, like, you want to, like, they just keep pushing. Or even the fact that someone may throw themselves on someone else without warning, like it's romantic, but really it's not romantic. It's just creepy. So why are we perpetuating that type of situation for ourselves? So consent should be happening at every level, and it should be mandatory, just as seen in the last video. So how do you ask for consent? I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, like, it's weird to just stop what we're doing and asking for consent. Like, it really isn't, though. Checking in with your partner can be done throughout every step of the process. So it really is just checking in with them, paying attention to their body language. Do they look uncomfortable? But basically asking, like, how are they doing? To make sure that you guys are all on the same page and feeling safe and comfortable. So, asking things like, do you like that? How does that feel? Do you want me to keep going? How far do you want to go? Asking those types of things during and even beforehand can be very beneficial to you in a situation. So, if everyone is feeling safe and comfortable, that means these examples are not how you ask for consent. So, come on, I thought you liked me. I promise you'll like it. What's the big deal? We've had sex before. I'm so horny right now. You liked it last weekend. All of those are should be red alerts in your head. That's a form of coercion. That's not asking for consent. That's pressuring your partner into something that maybe they don't feel comfortable with. So those are not ways to ask for consent. Sex is never something that's owed to someone. It doesn't matter if you've been flirting, if you've hooked up before, if they bought you dinner, not even if you're naked. Pushing someone until they finally give in is not consent because you've basically not given them the option to say no. So how do you know if someone is consenting once you ask? Look for things like, yes, please. Oh man, that feels good. Keep going. I'm down for anything in these areas, but not these areas. Notice how consent is a clear yes. It should be enthusiastic. It should be said out loud and have there be no doubt in your mind. However, remember that consent can always be retracted. So if you feel like the vibes have changed or you're unsure, getting mixed signals, you want to check in with your partner. So you may hear a potential no may sound like, I don't like that. Can you stop? I'm not ready for this. Can we slow down for a second? I'm not just into this anymore. Please don't. Just because someone doesn't say no doesn't mean they're saying yes. They might feel uncomfortable or guilty or not know how to say it. That is why it's really important to hear the verbal out loud yes if they're being quiet. Ask them how they're doing, what's up. Make sure that everything is okay. And that's basically getting good consent in a nutshell. So there are situations where consent cannot happen even if there is a verbal yes. The first one and most obvious is when people get drunk. Sometimes people get drunk. You may have learned this about the world, but when it comes to having sex, a little bit of alcohol, someone having one beer isn't that big of a deal, but if they're too drunk to drive, they're too drunk to give consent. So they may be slurring their words, their body may be limp, you can't communicate clearly with them, maybe they've been throwing up. That's someone who we would say is incapacitated and cannot give consent. We should all be doing the right thing, which is taking care of them in those situations, not taking advantage of them. Sex is something that's supposed to happen, isn't supposed to be something that happens to someone. It's something that's supposed to happen together with both people participating. So having sex with someone who's incapacitated or is in a compromised state is against the law. It's against our policy. You could potentially get expelled or go to jail. So it's something to consider. The second one is someone holding authority over you. You can't give consent to someone who has power over you. So when we say that, we talk about teachers, therapists, coaches, depending on the situation in an academic environment, it's going to be maybe someone like a teaching assistant, etc. It all depends on the situation, but it's someone they trust who has authority over them. They normally maybe idolize them, something that would essentially impair their ability to give consent. Power dynamics come with a really strong underlying vulnerabilities, which can help give the appearance of consensual sex when really it's just exploitative on the power position, from the power position essentially. But if everyone continues to have open lines of communication and consent is just part of our standard practice of sex, we're going to help create a consent culture, which is essentially a culture where all the sex is had is consensual and it's wanted by those involved. And that's how it should be. But obviously, that's not how it is. So it all starts with you guys as individuals, making sure that you're having those communications with your partners and giving verbal active consent every time. So to start to wrap up, our team is more than just myself. I am the Title IX coordinator. My office is located in S30 and 31 up in the Student Union above Bare Necessities. You can always come and talk to me about maybe something you're hearing or some clarification. We'd be glad to talk with you about Title IX and its role here on campus. But also know there are a couple other people that you can go and talk to. We have 3 investigators here on campus that are also trained. Chris McPherson, who is the director of the LSDC over in Main Hall is where his office is. Rhonda McCullough, who is part of the behavioral clinic over in Campbell Hall. She is one of our investigators, and then Dr. Vishaka Maskey from the College of Business is also an investigator. We find that that's awesome that we have faculty, staff, all involved in our process, and gives us options to make sure that we're unbiased in our proceedings and everything. Other administrators that we partner with a lot are Diana Harto with our HR department, and then Marcella Snyder, who's our judicial coordinator. So if something doesn't qualify as Title IX, it most likely then would fall under our student code of conduct and our judicial proceedings. If it has to do with faculty and staff, we partner with Diana Harto to make sure that everything goes smoothly on that end. So this is a small part of our team. We have a bunch of others that actually help with our hearing boards and other things like that, and we partner a lot with campus police in our processes to make sure that we're trained and up to date on everything Title IX related. But so just know that there's more than just me who you can reach out to or ask for partnerships with here on campus as part of our team. If you would like further information regarding Title IX, please check out our Policy 32 on our university website. It has full details and definitions of everything that we covered today, along with a bunch of other information. On there, we also have our Title IX proceedings. So if you were interested in learning about more about our grievance processes and how they work, those are also available online. If in the future you want to make a Title IX report, but you don't feel comfortable coming to our office, please feel free to utilize the complaint form online, and we will be able to reach out to you from there. And then if you have any interest in our student handbook, the student code of conduct is there, so you can see judicially what the university can also cover. I want to thank you guys for taking time today to meet with us, review Title IX and your role as a graduate assistant and how important you are as a leader here on campus. Know that you have faculty, staff, and other students here to support you, and Title IX is here if you need any clarification or want additional educational opportunities for you within your program. Feel free to reach out at any time over the academic year or throughout the summer. So thank you again and have a great day. In the future, we'd love to see you at a lot of our upcoming programs so you can gather more information, really understand Title IX, its impact on campus, and you being an active bystander and standing up for those around you. There will be different educational entities and modules available throughout the academic year coming at you, especially as a first-year student. All of our campus will have to complete an online module that you'll receive via your university email. But after that, a lot of that is just on your own interest and support. We'll do an It's On Us Week of Action in October. Annually, there's a domestic violence awareness walk. We partner heavily with athletics to create and present a Title IX program for all student athletes. And then we'll provide even more fun and engaging things besides just seminars, such as a self-defense program throughout the academic year. So be sure to come out to our programs, learn a little bit more about Title IX and your role here on campus, and we're excited to see you. If you have any questions regarding Title IX or our process, please feel free to reach out to me at any time, and good luck this academic year.